So the SEC just made their call on XRP ETFs and a bunch of other coins too. And I bet you're sitting there like, hold up, what the heck is going on? I get it. We're supposed to be in the crypto-friendly era now, right? The whole anti-crypto crusade is done and dusted. Absolutely. That war is in the rearview mirror, which is exactly why I want to dive into what's really cooking behind the scenes here. Because trust me, this decision doesn't mean XRP is getting the boot. Not even close. Here's my take on what's actually happening. And the timing? Chef's kiss of irony. Because while all this bureaucratic theater is playing out, XRP is out there absolutely slaying the game. We're talking complete market domination. This coin has been the undisputed champion since November's elections. Literally nothing else in the crypto space can touch its performance. But here's the real kicker. You've got 11 different companies basically camping out at the SEC's door, begging to launch their own XRP ETFs. And here's where it gets really juicy. There's this one CEO, I'll break this down more later in the video, who's applying for an XRP ETF. And this guy straight up said he expects XRP to smoke the competition. No beating around the bush, just pure confidence. Now here's why that matters big time. Every single XRP spot ETF that gets the green light has to be backed by actual, real XRP tokens. Think about it. You're basically unlocking the floodgates here. These ETFs can trade on regular old stock exchanges, which is the whole point, right? Picture this. You've got people managing their 401k who are used to buying boring S&P 500 ETFs. A lot of these folks have never touched crypto in their lives. They don't want to mess around with Coinbase. They don't want to figure out cold storage. They don't want to learn a whole new system. But now they can dip their toes into crypto through something as familiar as buying any other ETF. And that's going to be a massive wave of new money. We're talking about people who would never, ever buy XRP directly. But now these ETF companies have to go out and actually purchase XRP to back their funds. That's the magic here. This thing is going to snowball over the years and decades. We're looking at something absolutely massive in the making. So hey, congrats if you grabbed XRP when it was sitting around $3, because that price tag isn't going to last forever. Yeah, this CEO really nailed it with that whole outperforming the competition thing. I'm totally on board with that take, but before I keep going, let me just throw this out there real quick. I'm not some Wall Street guru or financial advisor, not even close. Don't buy or sell anything because of what I'm saying here. All right, do your own research and all that good stuff. So here's the timeline of what went down. October 8th, the SEC made their call on the MIC Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. October 16th, they weighed in on the 21 shares in Bitwise Solana ETFs. Then October 19th hit and boom, decision time for the 21 shares Core XRP Trust. But here's the thing. There are way more companies in this race than what some outlets are reporting. Cointelegraph might have missed a few, or maybe they just didn't have all the info when they published, but other crypto news sites like FX Street, they caught it. The SEC actually made decisions on Bitwise, Canary, and Grayscale XRP ETFs too. So we're not just talking about one or two applications here. This thing is way bigger than that. The SEC has been playing the delay game with crypto ETFs forever, especially Bitcoin ones. Everyone and their mom has been trying to get Bitcoin ETFs approved since like 2013. I'm pretty sure the Winklevoss twins were the first ones to throw their hat in the ring, though I could be off on that. But yeah, 2013, they submitted their Bitcoin ETF application and got shot down, but not before getting dragged through months of delays first. That became the SEC's signature move back then. They already knew under the old administration that they weren't going to approve jack squat when it came to crypto. But instead of just saying no right off the bat, they played this whole slow motion rejection game. Delay after delay after delay. Companies would resubmit applications multiple times thinking maybe this time would be different. Nope, same story. The SEC knew exactly what they were going to do from day one, but they just kept kicking the can down the road. But here's the thing. I don't think that's what's happening now. Not even close. It's crystal clear that the current SEC actually wants to crack these markets wide open. They're chomping at the bit to make this happen. And that's coming straight from the top, direct orders from the president. We've literally got the first genuinely pro-crypto government in American history. Paul Atkins is running the SEC now, and trust me, they're going to fast-track this stuff like nobody's business. In my mind, this is pretty much a done deal, and it's probably going to happen way sooner than people think. So what's up with all the delays then? Here's my theory. The SEC is basically building out this massive, comprehensive rulebook for digital assets right now. That's literally their main gig at the moment. Think about it logically. You don't want to just randomly approve stuff and then realize you've got all these weird inconsistencies between different coins. They want to make sure all their ducks are in a row before they start rubber stamping spot ETFs left and right. Better to get the framework solid first, then everything flows smoothly after that. That's my best guess anyway, and I'm pretty confident that's what's happening. But one thing's for sure, the SEC is now 100% team crypto. Zero doubt about that. So honestly, I'm not losing any sleep over it. It's coming, people. It's definitely coming. And here's something cool that Bill Morgan, he's a lawyer in the XRP community, pointed out that really got me thinking. Just because they set these October deadlines doesn't mean that's when decisions have to happen. They could drop the news literally any day if they wanted to. Now, imagine this scenario. We're still riding this bull market wave, right? If ETF approval news drop before this cycle peaks, before the whole thing gets super bubbly and eventually pops, that would be like throwing gasoline on a bonfire. We're talking major catalyst territory here. So there's other big news that could drop around the same time, and that's exactly what the lawyer is getting at here. He's saying all these spot ETFs, including the XRP ones, are getting pushed back until late October 2025. Plus, don't forget about Ripple's banking license application they filed back in July. According to the OECD guidelines, they typically decide on these things within 120 days. That means we could see a bunch of major announcements hit all at once by the end of October. Just picture this scenario. Let's say the bull run is still going strong and XRP is already pumping. Then boom, you get hit with news like this. You know how it is when the market's in that crazy euphoric mode. Even the smallest bit of good news can send everything through the roof. So imagine getting word that Ripple's banking application got approved. That's massive positive news right there. And if the ETFs get the green light at the same time, man, I think XRP would absolutely explode. Like you said, that's just adding fuel to the fire. This thing could rocket even higher than we're thinking. And he's basically saying, look, it would be awesome to dig deeper into this Ripple National Bank Charter application. But here's the thing. All the juicy details of their business plan are locked away as confidential info. We can't get our hands on it right now. Yeah, that's just how it goes. We'll probably find out more down the road. But honestly, just knowing they're going down this path is pretty exciting stuff. Now, check out these headlines. Here's why an XRP ETF might actually blow past the Ethereum ETFs. So the CEO over at Canary Capital is getting pretty bullish about an XRP ETF. His whole point is that now that the SEC's long drawn-out battle with Ripple is finally done and dusted, things are looking way more promising. He's even suggesting that XRP ETF products could end up doing better than the Ethereum ones. Stephen McClure from Canary Capital laid this all out in a recent podcast with Paul Barron, where they were diving into all the latest stuff happening with the Ripple case. He's saying this settlement has completely flipped expectations on their head. Get this, Polymarket is now putting the odds of ETF approval in 2025 at over 88%. That's a huge jump from just 53% the week before. Guys, I'm telling you, this whole line of thinking is just nonsense. XRP already has its legal clarity sorted out. Whatever Ripple decides to do with their XRP holdings, or any legal mess they got into before or might face later, that's completely separate from whether XRP itself counts as a security. That shouldn't even be part of the conversation. I swear, people just can't wrap their heads around this simple concept, and that's why those Polymarket numbers keep swinging all over the place. It's frustrating. Listen, under this government, you're absolutely getting an XRP ETF, no question about it. McClure's been hammering this point home. There was zero reason an XRP ETF shouldn't have gotten the thumbs up, even without any settlement, because we already had a judge say XRP isn't a security. That's literally the whole reason we threw our hat in the ring with this ETF application a year back, he explained. Now he's bringing up this fresh generic listing standard from the big players, NASDAQ, NYSE, and CBOE. The deal is, if a token has been trading on regulated US futures markets for over 6 months, it can qualify. XRP is basically about to check that box in the next few months. Plus, we've already got XRP futures running on CME and Coinbase. They went live right at the beginning of this year. Once these new listing standards kick in, McClure thinks we could see anywhere from 5 to 7 new crypto ETFs launch. We're talking XRP, Litecoin, HAR, the whole bunch. But he's saying XRP is in a league of its own because of how deeply it's embedded in financial services infrastructure. His exact words were, "There's going to be massive demand for XRP. It's the clear leader when it comes to traditional financial services, and coming from that world myself, I totally get why that's such a huge advantage." And guys, that's exactly the point I've been trying to make. There's no other ETF that hasn't launched yet that has this kind of built-in demand. People aren't just looking for another crypto product to trade. XRP sits at the top of the food chain for a damn good reason. Think about it. 11 different companies have filed for XRP spot ETFs. 11. That tells you there's real, genuine demand out there. I'm telling you, the amount of money that's going to pour into XRP over the coming years and decades, we can't even fathom how massive those numbers are going to be. We're talking really, really, really huge amounts. Then the conversation moved to how Ethereum and Bitcoin ETFs have been performing. McClure was pretty confident that XRP could actually outperform Ethereum. He laid out 3 main reasons why an XRP ETF would have a serious edge. And honestly, I don't even need to read through the rest of this article. I just wanted to highlight what he's saying here. He's calling XRP the category leader when it comes to community and actual demand. Obviously, there's massive demand, like I was just pointing out. Then he gets into this other point about how Ethereum holders can pull in 2 to 3% returns through staking. Now, there's nothing like that built into the XRP ledger natively, but here's the thing. I'm not even sure how much that really matters. Most people buying ETFs probably aren't holding actual crypto themselves anyway. I mean, there might be some exceptions here and there, but that's probably the reality. But I think the whole point is this. You'd buy the ETF if you don't want to mess around with crypto exchanges and learn all that self-custody stuff. That's literally why ETFs exist in the first place. Why else would you bother with them? Now, I get it if we're talking about some multi-coin ETF where you don't want to cherry-pick individual cryptos. That makes sense. Or imagine if there's something like an S&P 500 version for crypto in the future. You know, top 10, 20, 50 coins that automatically rebalances itself when things shift around. That I could totally understand since it would work just like the S&P 500. But for a single coin, honestly, why would I personally buy an XRP ETF when I can just buy XRP directly? I wouldn't. I really can't think of a single reason to do that. But here's the thing. I know there's huge demand for it out there, and that's fantastic news for XRP itself. Whatever happens, I think it's coming. Probably sometime this year, sooner or later. Could definitely happen. We might get all this awesome news while the bull market's still raging, which would just throw even more fuel on the fire. So we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about it though. Oh, and obviously I'm not a financial advisor. You definitely shouldn't buy or sell anything just because I'm saying stuff. That would be a really, really bad move.